I'm Cassie! Today I'm showing you my top tips for getting ahead on your holiday prep. Let's get right to it. Getting ahead for the holidays, I cannot help but think about my grandmother, and she's this amazing person who would host for both Christmas and Thanksgiving over 100 people in her very humble home. And she wanted to make sure that everybody walked away with, at Christmas time, for example, with their own tin, like a good sized tin full of Christmas cookies. And we got to go into her, she always laid out all the cookies on her bedspread in her bedroom, would hand everybody a tin, and she did this for dozens and dozens and dozens of people. It was amazing. And when I finally got a little bit older and took an interest in cooking, I asked her, Grandma, how are you pulling this off? How are you making this many cookies? And she showed me her deep freezer and essentially how she strategically breaks this apart. And I'm not saying that you need to go unprepared to make hundreds of dozens of cookies for people these holidays, but there's some lessons learned that we can all grab from her. Another thing that she did at the holidays is she would make well over 50 pies for Thanksgiving. It was an incredible undertaking, and again, she pulled it off because she worked in advance. So what I'm going to show you today are cookies, pies, and then side dishes for the holidays, things that we can make in advance that are still going to be excellent when we serve them fresh, but we can lean on our freezer space to get ahead. Okay, so for this first one, let's talk about savory first. So we have this is a stuffing. This is a cornbread stuffing actually right here in front of me. And it is really delicious and really special. And when I'm thinking about getting ahead for the holidays, if I'm going to host folks over in my home, I know that I'm really going to be thinking past me if I pre-prepared some of the side dishes that I'm going to serve up. And in my experience, the dishes that do the best, going from cook it, stick it in the freezer, and then pull it out and serve it up after it warms up in the oven, the dishes that do the best are starchy sides like stuffing. Stuffing does beautifully in the freezer. So might as well, if you find yourself with a little downtime, go ahead and maybe make 2 batches, right? Even though you might only have one holiday event on your calendar, making another one for your freezer and having it in there might just make you that much more inclined to invite folks over. So what you would do is you would cook, no matter what the stuffing is, cook it all the way through, follow the instructions, and then wrap it heavy-duty aluminum foil a couple of times. Label it, as always. Very important to label what it is, the date you made it so that you know to enjoy it within 3 months, and then stick it in the freezer. And then the way that you would reheat stuffing is to stick it back into the oven. I like to start off at about 350 degrees. Take it cool. You could pull it out the night before and put it in your refrigerator and let it start to thaw in the refrigerator and then stick it in the oven. And essentially it's a bit of a guessing game, like when it's really cooked all the way through, but if you leave that aluminum foil on top of it, it'll protect it from overcooking, so it's really hard to goof up. And so I usually just stick it in the oven with whatever else is cooking on the day of, and it warms through, and then everybody loves it, and it's beautiful. So that's one. And then my last tip for stuffing reheating. Before you serve it, pull that foil off and let it go back into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes so that any moisture that it collected while it was in the freezer will pull out and evaporate off, and you'll get a nice crisp finish on the top again. Moving on down the line, next up we're going to talk about pies. And did you know that you can freeze pies in 2 ways? Number 1, we're going to talk about freezing your pie crust. And number 2, talk about freezing a whole pie. This is a cooked, totally finished pumpkin pie made from scratch with a lot of love, and it was frozen solid. And it is going to be such a game changer come the holidays, because when I have family coming over, I have 2 small kiddos, almost 3, could you tell? Almost 3 are here. And inevitably, I'll build out this menu that feels really doable. But if I already have my dessert done in the freezer, and I remember, all I have to do is pull that out of the freezer 2 days before. My already cooked pumpkin pie, it's homemade, it's ready to go, pull it out of the freezer, stick it in the refrigerator 2 days before and let it thaw in the refrigerator, and then I'm slicing it and I'm ready to go. I do like to make fresh whipped cream. That honey sweetened whipped cream, which you can find here, is delicious on top. So it has a fresh component, but you're gonna be so thankful that you did this in advance. Pumpkin pie freezes so beautifully, especially this pumpkin pie. Watch that video and learn all about it. Other pies that are gonna freeze really well are going to be pie. Apple pie would freeze really well, cherry pie, any kind of a cobbler style pie. And what I would do if you're freezing some kind of a cobbler with a lattice topping is, while the pumpkin pie I cooked all the way through because I want it to set, the apple, the cherry pie, the other kinds of heavy fruit pies, I would actually assemble them raw, wrap it up and stick it in the freezer. And then when you're ready to cook it, you can go ahead and let it thaw. Let it thaw for about a day. Stick it in the oven and follow the normal cooking instructions. And that way you're baking this fresh pie, but you didn't have to sit there and core all those apples the day before to pull it off. Another really easy trick I've got for you is, while you're already making pie crust, and if you haven't already made this pie crust, you are missing out because it's really delicious and very simple to pull together, and it's so flaky and so oh my gosh, it's so good. You're gonna love it. Okay, but while you're making pie crust and while you already have flour all over the place, or me all over my belly, then I say might as well double it. Make another pie crust and put it into a pie tin that you're not gonna miss, and stick this in the freezer. Wrap it in foil so it's protected from the elements. And then when you want to make an impromptu pie, maybe you have some extra pumpkin puree sitting around, or you want to make something else, you have your crust already ready to go. This is great for a flaky crust like this, or you could even do this with a graham cracker crust. I constantly will try to pre-make my graham cracker crust because I've got my food processor out already and I'm blending all those cookies and the softened butter. I might as well keep going, and I might as well make another one, because pulling together like a yogurt pie or a chocolate mousse pie, it's so easy to do once the crust is done. And so it makes getting dessert on the table so fast and so easy, and you'll be so grateful you did it. Okay, last up, let's talk about cookies. Cookie season is here, and these are the classic chocolate chip, chewy chocolate chip cookies from fedandfit.com. This recipe is so good. We make it all the time. And this is actually a single batch. So one batch gave me these 2 logs, and this is the tip I learned from my grandmother. She would have a dough making phase, and then she would have a baking phase, all well before Christmas, well before her big cookie gifting extravaganza. And so her advice was to make all your cookie dough at once. And so, again, we're not all setting out to be just like Grandma Lois, but what we could do is next time you make chocolate chip cookies, or the next time you're making a batch of something for some friends or taking somewhere, sending to school with your kiddos, double it. You already have the dishes out, right? You already have the ingredients out, and that's the hard part for me. Double it. Make the cookies you want fresh, and then store the rest in the freezer. My favorite way to do it is to put it into parchment paper, form it into a log just like this. We're gonna roll it, twist the ends tight so that it stays nice and airtight. And then this goes into the freezer, labeled bag. I put them in a reusable Ziploc bag, and I'll label it, and I'll say chocolate chip cookie dough, and I'll put the date on it that I made it. And then when you're ready to bake cookies, unroll it, and then you have slice and bake cookies ready to go. This dough is really forgiving. I can slice it frozen, stick it right in the oven, and it's gonna be delicious. So get ahead on those. And then if you really wanna embrace the Grandma Lois tradition, you can make all of your cookie dough. And then what she did is she started making her cookies, the dough, 6 months before Christmas. It was unbelievable production. And then a few months before, then she would start pulling out all of her dough, cutting it, baking it, decorating, even icing some of those sugar cookies. And then she would freeze the actually cooked, baked cookies in a bunch of different tins so that she just had to pull those out and put them on her bedspread for all of her family to enjoy. Now that you're ready to get ahead for the holidays, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single video we have coming to you soon. We've got chocolate chip cookies, we've got peanut butter cookies, and then if you want to go ahead and watch something right now, watch the video on your screen where I am showing you how to make the flakiest, most perfect, but also easiest pie crust.